best radio show.
In your car,
at work,
at home,
on your smartphone.
This is Star Radio UK.
Hi everyone, it's your girl Bebe Clement, the author of How to Go From Employee to Entrepreneur and the host of your weekly business show, Bebe Means Business, the show where we discuss everything you ever wanted to know about business but you were afraid to ask. How do I start my business? How do I raise the finance? How do I grow my business? Where am I going to find my customers? Join me every Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. on Star Radio UK to get all the information and tips that you need to become a successful entrepreneur and become financially free. Remember, don't let life dictate to you. Rather, put your signature on life.
Get ready for this.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome once again to the Bebe Means Business Show. For those of you who are regular listeners, you will know that I am your host, Bebe Clement, and I run a group of small companies alongside my husband. I'm also the author of a couple of books, How to Go From Employee to Entrepreneur, and my latest book is Wealth Creation, God's Way. Listen, I want to give a shout out and a thank you to everybody who has bought that book. It has just been amazing. It's just amazing. So thank you so much. Thanks for the feedback, for all the reviews. I'm so pleased that that book is changing lives. And I'm going to give you the details as to where you can find that book later on in the program. Thank you also to everyone who tuned in last week. Now, last week we spoke about a topic that's not particularly sexy, but it's very, very important. We spoke about business ethics. And for those of you who weren't able to tune in, I'm going to do a quick recap of what we discussed. We talked about the importance of business ethics and how, as a people, a seeming lack of business ethics and integrity in business is holding us back. So it's in our best interest to get it together in relation to our business ethics and what guides us in relation to our business decisions. So we looked at what exactly does business ethics look like. And we looked at things as simple as delivering a service on time or within the framework with which you have promised the client. Even that is business ethics. Also, we looked at integrity in business. What are you not willing to do to get to where you want to go? That, for me, is one of the best definitions of integrity. What you are not willing to do to get to where you want to go. So if you're not willing, make it very clear you're not willing to sleep with anyone to get a contract or to get the deal or that kind of thing. All that is guided by integrity. But other things that can guide your integrity are even your faith. I mean, those of us who are of the faith, particularly of the Christian faith, knowing that you are an ambassador for God in the marketplace should produce a good level of business ethics in your practices. Knowing that if you mess up, it does not only have consequences for you and your business, but for the one who has sent you. So I think it's really, really important to be undergirded by things like that. Knowing the rules that govern your particular industry. What are you allowed and not allowed to do in your industry? Many of us don't familiarize ourselves with things like that. And then we get ourselves into unnecessary trouble. I spoke about the number of people I know, a number of colleagues I have in the legal profession, whose law firms was intervened by the SRA just because they didn't familiarize themselves with what is allowed or what is not allowed in the legal profession, such as moving clients' money into a personal account or a company business account is a no-no. And the number of people who have had their law firms closed down because of something as simple as that. So it's important that business ethics is really, really important. So thanks to everybody who tuned in, and those of you who didn't and you want to see the replay, you know where to go on YouTube. Please do that. You can see everything you want to see. Okay, but today I'm so excited, so excited. It is such a privilege to have my guest on the show today. From a faith perspective, this man is a fellow Kingdom wealth creator. It's almost embarrassing to say that I've written 2 books because this man has written over 40. So there's no way I can even do him justice. I'm going to let him introduce himself, apart from saying that he's a businessman par excellence. And as you know, I only have the dopest people on this show. So without much ado, can I welcome again to the show, because I know you've been here before, Dr. Pastor Olumide Emmanuel, you are so welcome to BB Means Business.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thanks for having me again. It's nice to be back, and well done for the good work you're doing.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you. We're holding on to your coattails, sir. We're holding on to your coattails. All right. So for those of us that don't know you, could you tell us a little bit about who you are and what is it that you do in the marketplace?
Okay, I'm Olumide Emmanuel. I consider myself as an apostle in the marketplace. I'm generally known as a wealth creation agent because my focus is to help individuals, families, organizations, and nations to create wealth. So I help people understand what wealth creation is all about and how they can create wealth and sustain the wealth. So when it comes to making money, managing money, multiplying money, when it comes to wealth creation and sustainability, those are the things that I do. So I'm simply an instrument of empowerment.
Brilliant, brilliant. Which is why I can see why the attraction is there, because, you know, like they say, iron sharpens iron. So I surround myself, I purposely surround myself with people such as yourself, because I have so much to learn, and it's always such a privilege to be able to learn from people like yourself. So thank you, sir. Let's jump right in there. Now, looking back on my life, I can see that things that I observed in my childhood kind of shaped my views about business and money. And I'll give an example. So, for instance, I had different groups of friends. I had friends who were mega wealthy or seemingly mega wealthy. You know, they lived in the best areas. They had chauffeurs and cars and housemaids and all the rest, because I grew up in Nigeria. And then all of a sudden, perhaps one day, you'd go to their house and either they've moved or everything suddenly looked different. And then you could see that something has occurred here. The car was gone, the driver is gone, that kind of thing. And then I had other friends who didn't seem as wealthy or visibly wealthy. Maybe their mom was a trader or something like that. But I found that in the long term, those people seem to create more sustainable wealth. And I discovered that a lot of the people that I thought were rich or wealthy, a lot of the wealth that we saw belonged to the company that their parents worked for. And once they got sacked or they were retired, all the trappings of wealth, or all the things that we saw that we thought, oh my God, they're living so large, everything disappeared. Everything disappeared. And I remember saying this, I was speaking at the Street University, it's an organization in Kenya. I was speaking there last year, and the guy that owns the Street University, he was saying, Bebe, he said, you just told my story. He said, that's exactly what happened to us. That even the sofa that we sat on in our living room, they carried it away the day they sacked my dad. Yeah. So, Pastor, what do you say about that in relation to your childhood? What did you observe in your childhood that has kind of led you to where you are now?
Okay, well, I was born into a middle-class family. My father was a civil servant, and so was my mom. And so I grew up, because for every individual, the operating system that runs your life is a function of your background, your environment, your association, and your upbringing. So many of us have a poverty operating system, while many of us have a prosperity operating system, and that becomes the software that shapes us. So I grew up in that middle-class family, and I grew up with the insufficiency and scarcity mentality of there is not enough to go around, fingers are not equal, everybody cannot be rich, cut your coat according to your size, don't bite more than you can chew, a bird in the hand is worth more than. So all those kind of evil philosophies, they shaped my mindset, and all we wanted to do was to just wait for one lucky day when we're going to have one lucky break, one lucky opportunity, or somebody will just come and help us and bring us out of the problem. And then I got saved. I got born again as a teenager. I became a pastor at the age of 21, and then I shifted from the understanding of my upbringing into another reality of kingdom, but I realized that also came with another set of miseducation. And that led me to a place where I needed balance. But my own personal story changed. I first got married in 1997. And in 1997, when I got married, I was a young man. I was in my late 20s, and I had one or two things I was doing, but I was majorly into ministry. And I told the lady I was to get married to, say, you know what, I have a vision, I have a future. I don't have all the money right now, but I know I'm going to do well. I've written books. My books are going to do well. I'm doing seminars. I'm doing training. I'm doing stuff. And she said, oh, don't worry. No, I love you the way you are. I love you the way you are. It doesn't matter. And I fell for that trap because I did not realize that I love you the way you are does not mean that I love you to remain the way you are. So when a woman tells you I love you the way you are, it's a statement of faith. It's a statement of hope. It's hoping that if I suffer with this man, at least between 2 to 3 to 5 years, the story will change. And if that mental and emotional and unconscious calendar that she has created does not work, then you're going to see another side. And in the midst of that, I found out that we were pregnant and we were expecting our first child, and that added to my depression and my confusion. And that was what led me to say, come, I'm tired of poverty. All these guys that are rich and wealthy, there's nothing different about them. And that was when I decided to cry out to say, come, Lord, what is the way out of poverty? And that led me to 8 months of going through a biographical study of all the rich and wealthy families on all the continents of the earth. Within those 8 months, there was a rebirth. And I came out of that 8 months experience transformed. I came out knowing exactly what to do to create wealth, because I suddenly realized that every rich and wealthy people on earth had some major things that was common to every one of them. Number one, they were not salary earners. So the story of people we are talking about is because they are salary earners. You see, when you are in the rat race of life, even if you win the race, you are still a rat. Because whether the handcuff is golden handcuff or silver handcuff or wooden handcuff, an handcuff is an handcuff. So everyone that is a salary earner is a slave of your sorts, and they are involved in what I call the rat race of life. So you have official car, official house, official trip, official accommodation, official stuff, and then by the time you are let go, you will enter into official poverty. So when I studied the rich and wealthy people, I realized that number one, they were not working for anybody, so they were entrepreneurs, they were investors. Number two, they had multiple streams of income. They didn't only have one source of income, they had multiple streams of income that was working for them. They were creating value. And when I identified all the characteristics of the rich and wealthy people, I realized that if I do the same thing that they have done, I will become what they have become, because principles are universal. Yeah. But the application of those principles are geographical, contextual, and personal. And that's what I did. And within a 3 to 4 year period, I saw a transformation in my life, and that became a mandate for me to go teach people how to create wealth and help people come into that place where they can make money and multiply money. And that's what I've done now for close to 30 years.
Wow. If I end this show here, is enough. It's enough with the nuggets that you've just given us. A number of things I wanted to pick up on. The first thing I wanted to talk about was basically what we call, like, everybody has a money story. Everybody, which is basically what you've said. Everybody has a money story. Something in their background that has shaped the way they view money, the way they behave around money, whether they ever make any money, and what they do when they get it. So, you know, my story is similar in a way to yours. When I was young, first of all, I'm the eldest of 12 children, and then my mom died when I was very young, unexpectedly. Now, she had been a trader. She imported lace into Nigeria, and she supplied, I remember, Balogun Market. For those of you who don't know Lagos, Balogun Market is one of the major markets where they sell lace materials, which is one of the basic clothing that we wear in my culture. So she used to supply that, and she used to import gold and stuff like that. But then she died very, very suddenly after childbirth. And my dad, who was a chartered accountant, had decided he never wanted to work in, do a 9 to 5. But my mom was really the brains behind the business. And then when she died, my father really didn't know what to do to produce a lot more money the way she had done it. And so we went from being a very comfortable upper middle class family to literally a poverty-ridden family in a very short period of time. Very, very short period of time. And what made it even worse is because, people can be easily deceived by what they see. So we looked wealthy, but we were not. It was not unusual for us literally to be scraping through like, oh my God, how are we going to have enough money to eat tonight? That was our basic story. So just like you said, my money mantra as I grew up was just manage. Just manage. If you can get through today, thank God. Every little penny I was scraping for, and I did that because, of course, when my mother died, as the eldest, I stepped into her shoes, and it was my responsibility because my dad was at sea, he didn't really know what to do, to make sure that my brothers and sisters ate, they were well clothed, they were well dressed, and everything like that. So I was always trying to manage this money, picking up pennies here, doing it, and that, just like you said, birthed in me a serious poverty mentality. In fact, my husband used to laugh when me and him first of all started dating. If there wasn't a sale sign on a shop, I wouldn't even go near the shop. There had to be a sale sign.
Wow.
And even today, I mean, I thank God for deliverance and all that. But even today, there are still sometimes a bit of friction. I remember last year there was a particular shop that I just used to walk by. It was a designer shop, but I just used to walk by because I just used to think I can't afford anything in there, so there's no point. But on this day, I just thought, man, I've got to pull down this like the Bible talks about, these imaginations, and I've got to submit to the word of the Lord. So I said, no, this is rubbish. I'm going to walk into that shop. So I walked into the shop, and I was surprised to find actually I could afford to buy something in here, which I did, just to break that thing that the devil had placed in me. I purposely bought something in there. So yes, it's really important that you examine your money story, where it's coming from, and deal with it if you want to go forward. Okay, I'm going to take a break here because I think there's a lot there for us to muse upon. So I'm going to take a quick break here, and then when we come back, we'll talk some more. So ladies and gentlemen, don't go away. You are listening to Dr. Olumide Emmanuel, and as you can see, the man is a powerhouse. He's got lots more to say. Listen, take this break, text everybody, call everybody, tell them to log in because this can change your life. See you in a minute.
Hi everyone, it's your girl Bebe Clement, the author of How to Go From Employee to Entrepreneur and the host of your weekly business show, Bebe Means Business, the show where we discuss everything you ever wanted to know about business but you were afraid to ask. How do I start my business? How do I raise the finance? How do I grow my business? Where am I going to find my customers? Join me every Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. on Star Radio UK to get all the information and tips that you need to become a successful entrepreneur and become financially free. Remember, don't let life dictate to you. Rather, put your signature on life.
Get ready for this.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. And today, if you're just joining us for the first time, we are hosting Dr. and Pastor Olumide Emmanuel, and he's talking to us about money. That's why we're all here, money. So we were just speaking about a money story before the break. There are a number of things that you mentioned about how your liberty, your liberty or financial liberty came about. One of the things I noticed, I took from that, is that you were hungry enough to do something about your situation. And the reason why I raise that is, as you know, I'm a speaker and I speak about this a lot. I'm often frustrated about the number of people who say, I want to be financially free, but then they do absolutely nothing. They don't buy the books, they don't go to the seminar, they don't switch off Netflix, they don't want to pay the price. They're looking for some kind of miracle. I don't understand it to happen. But you were hungry enough to actually do something about your situation. Can you tell us the importance of having of being hungry, basically?
Well, one of the things we've come to realize about life is that you cannot teach a man anything except you help him to discover it within himself. You cannot teach a man anything except you help him to discover it within himself. all the motivations, all the inspirations, all the counseling, and all the push that we give to people will never amount to anything except they receive it, and from within they become hungry enough to pay the price that is required to get what they need to get. For instance, we have heard it said for many, many generations that you can take the horse to the river, but you cannot force the horse to drink. The only way you can get the horse to drink is to put salt in the mouth of the horse. When you put enough salt in the mouth of the horse will become thirsty. And when the thirst and hunger comes from within, you won't need to motivate the horse to drink. The horse will drink by itself. So many people are not thirsty enough, they are not hungry enough. And the reason why this is happening is because many times they have people around them that have become crutches that help them to get by. And they feel, well, as long as I have one or two people around me that are helping me, I don't really need to do this, I don't really need to do that. And then they remain the same way they are. 1 year, 2 years, 10 years, hoping for a breakthrough, hoping for a miracle to happen. Something exciting happened 2 years ago. I run an organization called the Billionaires Conclave, where I mentor high net worth individuals, families, and organizations. And then from every year we have a conference, and then we advise people to invite their friends to come and be a part of the conference and see a possibility of them becoming a part of the conclave. 2 years ago, one of the conclave members invited a friend. The friend came in, heard the stories of people, saw a lot of people that she knew, and the next day, listen to what she said. She said, "Sir, I would like to ask a question. My friend joined you people less than 2 years ago, and in less than 2 years, she's doing a turnover of about $1 billion. Now, I'm here today, I came in yesterday, I've heard stories of people, and they're all doing amazingly well. Say, but all through last year, I could not even do a turnover of 10 million. And now while she was speaking, I was checking out her bag, I was checking out her shoe, I was checking out all the stuff that she had on. So I asked her a simple question. Are you married? She said yes. Do you have kids? She said yes. Is your husband a responsible man? She said yes. Does your husband pay the bills? She said yes. Does your husband take care of you? She said yes. I said, that's why you are not going to become rich. I said, because wealth is not sexually transmitted. Wealth is not sexually transmitted. I said, if you are a single parent with 3 children and an irresponsible husband and nobody to help you, I said, you'll be hungry enough. The pressures and the challenges of life will push you to prosperity. I said, but now, even though you have a business, you don't really need the money from the business. You're married to a good man. You're comfortable. So whatever you need, whether your business does well or not, there is someone taking care of you. I said, so you will not be able to get there until you are ready to move into that other dimension. And that's the challenge we have. Because a lot of women are trained in our culture to grow up and marry a good man that will take care of them. So the psychology, the software for a lot of women is, let me just be a good woman, cook for the, learn how to cook so that you can take care of your husband. You have to be pure so that you can take care of your husband in the bedroom. You have to be good-natured and good culture. So everything is about husband. Nobody's telling them to develop themselves and empower themselves, and then they now want the man to come and solve all their life's problems. And that's why in this culture, we have a lot of people that are in abusive relationships that are being demeaned, being abused verbally, physically, mentally, financially by men, but they can't go anywhere because they have no option because they are not empowered. So I believe that hunger is a prerequisite for you to become all that you want to be in life.
Wow. You've actually gone ahead of some of the things I was going to ask. You've actually already answered. But one of the things I was going to say is, let's go back to the whole issue of being employed. Because like you said, I don't know anybody, and no matter how much they pay them, I don't know anybody who has become wealthy through a salary. I really don't. One of the things that I often say is that a salary is the price that you pay for the security of your financial freedom, or is the price you pay for your financial freedom. The security of your salary is the price you pay for your financial freedom. And the reason why I say that is because security and financial freedom are not the same thing. They're not synonymous. They're not synonymous. And we don't seem to understand that profit is better than wages. That wages will make you a living, but it's not enough for you to have a life. It's not enough for you to have a life.
Okay.
Yeah, please add to that, sir. That's fine.
So, no, sorry, the line went off the network. I didn't know if you heard me.
Okay. Okay, no, that's fine. We can hear you. Right.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's really important. Let's go to family, since you've spoken about family. As you know, money is the third highest reason cited for divorce in the UK. I don't know if you do know that, but that is the third. I doubt it's any different anywhere else, but it's the third highest reason cited for divorce in the UK. What tips can you give married couples in relation to their finances? Now, you've spoken a little bit about our mentality, especially in our community, in relation to women. But what tips can you give couples? We'll come back to women in a minute, but couples, what tips can you give them to maintain a healthy financial lifestyle?
Okay, well, when it comes to marital crisis, the top 5 reasons for marital crisis all over the world is communication, sex, money, third parties, and unrealistic expectations. And the top 3 is communication, sex, and money. So yes, it's a global statistics that money affects a lot of people when it comes to the issue of marriage and all this. So the first thing I always tell people is to give financial intelligence a priority in their life. That's one of the major challenges that people have. A lot of people are not financially intelligent. They don't give attention to financial education. The more you learn, the more you earn. If you're not informed, you'll be deformed. If you're not inspired, you'll expire. If you're not updated, you'll be outdated. What you know is what determines how far you go, because information is the key to transformation. So for married people, when they come into a marital relationship, they always plan on, oh, how many children are we going to have? Now, where are we going to have the wedding? Who's going to be chief bridesmaid? What kind of gown are we going to wear? What's going to be the color of the cake? They design and plan for every other thing, but they don't sit down to plan on their financial education. So the first thing I tell couples is give financial intelligence and financial education a priority in your life. For everyone, there are 3 major aspects of your life: relationship, finance, and your spiritual life and leadership. So relationship, finance, and your spiritual life and leadership. So if those are 3 major areas of the life of people, it therefore means that you need to develop yourself in these 3 areas. So I advise people that as a couple, you need to read at least 4 books on finances, 1 book a quarter. If you do 1 book a week as a couple, then do 1 book a month or a quarter on finance, and so that you can read the books together, study together, and grow in your financial intelligence. So that's the first thing that I will tell people that will help them in their finance. The second thing I tell couple is you must have a united plan. Have a united plan. Most of the time we have all this dichotomy of your money is our money, my money is my money, and then people come up with all this funny stuff. If we are not working together in unity, we're going to be diffusing energy. So the woman is trying to do her stuff, the man is trying to do his stuff, and in trying to pursue many of these things by inflation, by devaluation, by market forces, you find out that many of the things you're trying to do alone, you are not able to achieve. But if we come together and have a united plan, it will help us. So that united plan will include budgeting. That united plan will include vision. That united plan will include the future. So we have a united plan that includes a budget. So it's okay, in this family, we're going to have a budget. And when you talk about budgeting, you need to look at what, because when money, I teach people, money is tripartite. So every time money comes into your hand, that money has a past, the money has a present, and the money has a future. Money is a spirit, money has a soul, money lives in the body. But let's leave that as well. Let's just focus on the past, present, and future. So every time money comes into your hand, a portion of that money belongs to your past to take care of the bills you have already incurred. A portion of that money belongs to your present to take care of your ongoing obligation. A portion of that money belongs to your future to create the future for you. Because if you don't save, you are not safe. What you save today will save you tomorrow. So there is nothing called future. There is nothing called tomorrow. Today is the tomorrow you spoke about yesterday. So if you don't create the future, you won't have a future. So couples should not just have financial education and financial intelligence. They should have a united plan. And that should include a budget to say, okay, this money that is coming, A portion of this money belongs to our past. Let's do it this way. A portion of this money belongs to today. Let's spend it this way. A portion of this money belongs to the future. Let's save it this way. And once that is done, then they now have a united vision. When do you want to have a home? When do you want to go into entrepreneurship? Because there are some beliefs that I personally have, and I advise people to consider. Number one, I personally do not believe that people should get married and 10 years later they don't have a home of their own. I believe that by the time you are celebrating your 10 years wedding anniversary, you should be homeowners. And whether you are in America, you are in Canada, you are in Australia, you don't need to buy a house and pay for 30 years, 25 years. You can pay your house off in 8 years, 5 years, 8 years, 10 years. All these things are possible. But when people don't believe that it's possible, they don't believe they can buy a house cash, they don't believe they can pay it off in 5 to 10 years, they believe it has to be 25 years, then they don't understand what needs to be done. So I believe that couples should be able to have home ownership plan within 10 years. I also believe that when people are married, even if they are professionals, they are salary earners, I believe that by the 15th year of their working life, everybody should have an entrepreneurial and investment plan. So it therefore means that even if you are both salary earners, by the 15th year of being together, you should not depend on your salary to survive. If you continue to earn a salary, let it be because you're a professional, that's your career, that's your purpose, but you must have enough investment, bringing in enough cash flow that whether you earn a salary or not, after 15 years together, you should have enough cash flow that takes care of you. So these are some of the things we advise people, and as a financial strategist, we help people design their lives in order to achieve this purpose, and we've seen a lot of results in that area.
Okay. Thank you so much. Quite a few things I wanted to pull up there. One, the first thing I wanted to say to the ladies, a man is not a financial plan. I'll say that again because it's really important. A man is not a financial plan. You must have a financial plan of your own. Some of the things that you mentioned are sometimes anathema for our people, such as budgeting. I mean, I know women who have absolutely no idea how much is coming in, absolutely no idea how much is going out on a monthly basis. I can't understand how you can live like that, and you wonder why you're not doing well financially. I also want to use this as an opportunity to speak to our women, because this is International Women's Month, which is one of the reasons why I wanted you to come on the show during this month. So I really want to address some of the issues that are holding our women back. I mean, some of us have been in this country 30 years and we still have nothing to show for it. But just like you said when you were speaking to that lady, I just want to share a couple of things that I think are pertinent to us women in particular, if we want to do well financially. So there was a couple I knew who were not doing well financially. The husband was complaining that things were not going well, blah, blah, blah. But I didn't know them that well, so there was a limit to what I could say. But one day, they invited me to their house, and I went. And I wanted to go to the toilet, and they said I couldn't use the main toilet because they were remodeling. So they asked me to use the ensuite to their toilet in their bedroom. So I said, okay. So when I walked through the bedroom, when I opened the bedroom door, when I was able to open the bedroom door, it was like I'd entered a sea of shoes. From wall to wall, it was women's shoes. You couldn't open the door. It was that bad. And so I was like, now I understand why these people are having financial issues. So later, I spoke to the husband and said, kind of mentioned it. And he said, oh, that's just the tip of the iceberg. We have other rooms full of shoes. And that my wife has to have, she buys on average a set of shoe and bag 3 a month. How are you going to make financial headway if you are living like that? It doesn't matter how much you are earning. The drain on your finances is too much. So if you're serious about being financially free, you are going to have to change your spending habits. Yeah. Sit down and take an honest look at your life and your expenses and change your spending habits. You can't be building wealth and be spending like that. It's like pouring water into a bucket that has holes. You're not going to get anywhere. You're not going to get anywhere. So that's really important, that you look at the way you are living, and keep an eye open as to how much is coming in. What exactly am I spending my money on? Take your statement of account out on a monthly basis and have a look. Where exactly is the money going? Are you eating out every week? Do you have to eat out every week? Do you have to buy Ashrabi every time somebody has a party? Do you have to buy it? You know, a lot of what we are looking at, Pastor, a lot of what we're looking at as wealth is actually nothing more than a high consumption lifestyle. It really isn't.
Yeah, that's true.
It's nothing more than a high consumption lifestyle. And as terrible and horrible as COVID was, one of the things that COVID did, Dr. Emmanuel, for us in the UK is it really showed us up. It showed us up because people that we had looked at and thought, oh, this person is doing well, because you see them driving the latest car, you go to the house, you see the 100-inch screen TV, and you think they're doing well financially. When they died, we had to do GoFundMe just to bury them. We're not even talking about to support the family later. Just to bury them, there's no money. There's no money.
Yeah, it's a fake life. It's false prosperity.
Yes, it's false prosperity. So we have to make a decision, people, if we're serious about being wealthy, is rather than look wealthy, to actually be wealthy. Some people are satisfied with looking wealthy. I'm not interested in that. Actually be wealthy is where we need to go. Okay, can we take another quick break? For those of you who don't know, this is a live show, so you can call in. If you have any questions for Dr. Olumide, he'll be more than happy to answer your questions. So please, you can hook us up on Twitter. Our Twitter handle is @StarRadioUK, or you can text us on WhatsApp, or WhatsApp us on 07539 661 744. That's 07539 661 744. Those of you who are watching us from Facebook, please just put your questions in the chat, and when we come back, he will answer those questions. See you in a moment.
Hi everyone, it's your girl Bebe Clement, the author of How to Go from Employee to Entrepreneur, and the host of your weekly business show, Bebe Means Business, the show where we discuss everything you ever wanted to know about business, but you were afraid to ask. How do I start my business? How do I raise the finance? How do I grow my business? Where am I going to find my customers? Join me every Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. on Star Radio UK to get all the information and tips that you need to become a successful entrepreneur and become financially free. Remember, don't let life dictate to you. Rather, put your signature on life.
Get ready for this.
Okay guys, welcome back to the Bebe Means Business Show, and today I have the pleasure and the honor of having Dr. Olumide Emmanuel on the show, and he has just been blowing our mind with information and tips in relation to money and wealth and how we can do better in our marriages, because a lot of the problems, the root of a lot of the problems in our marriages is financial. Even sometimes where there's cases of infidelity, some of it, the root is money. So this is something that we really need to deal with. During the break, there was a flyer that went up. If my producer could kindly put that back up there. I have an event coming up on the 11th. Yes, that's it. Thank you very much, Brother Archie. So yeah, I have this event coming up on the 11th. It's a women's breakfast. I have this annually. And listen, ladies, nobody's going to come to your house to buy your products and services. You have to get out there and you have to network. You have to let people know about your financial independence. Why do you think that going to get another one is going to do the magic? Can you speak to that?
It's the colonial mindset. You see, academic education is not enough for wealth creation. And like I said, there are 5 dimensions of education that you need to have. They're all documented in my book, The School of Money, where I spent an entire module speaking about the 7-star education, because there is the need to redefine education. In our world today, many people only believe that you can be educated or uneducated. But there are actually 3. You are either educated, uneducated, or miseducated. So a lot of people are actually miseducated, and it is that miseducation that makes them to think that academic education will create wealth. All the professors, all the dean of faculty of accounts, all the vice chancellors of the universities all over the continent in different parts of the world, they are poor people. They are not rich, even though they went to school, because having PhD in swimming technology does not make you a swimmer. Having a master's degree in business administration, having an MBA does not mean you can run a restaurant successfully. So many times people go to school, they study theory, but they don't have practical experience. Because most of what you learn in school, over 80% of what you learn in school is useless the day you graduate.
Yeah.
The schools were not created to make you wealthy. Schools were created to program you to become an employer, to program you to become a job seeker.
Yes.
And that's why, after over 20 years in the academic sector, the first letter you write is, I beg to apply. You are looking for a job, because you are not programmed to create a job, you are programmed to seek for a job. So academic education is only for 4 things. It helps you to read, it helps you to write, it helps you to do mathematics and arithmetics, and it helps you to be able to think. But that's where it ends. Apart from that, it doesn't provide wealth. The fact that you're a chartered accountant does not mean you can charter a plane. The fact that you're a chartered accountant does not mean you can charter things that are luxury. So because you are trained to count other people's money and help them put their money in order. So a lot of people that say, I want to go to school, is because they have been miseducated to think that, oh, go to school, get good grades, get a good job, and then you retire, and then you get a pension. All over the world right now, pension has become a fraud. All over the world, there is no security in social security. A lot of people that thought they were retired after 35 years, they are going back to work in their 60s, in their 70s.
Yes.
Just to make ends meet.
Yes.
Because they've been defrauded. And I say to people, there are only 3 inevitable harms. You either retire, retrench, or you resign. So these 3 are inevitable. But the question is, how prepared are you for these eventualities of life? So for me, I would say to people, you need more than academic education, you need financial education. And financial education does not come through the 4 walls of a university. It comes through personal development, reading books, listening to messages and tapes and programs like this, going for seminars, like the one you are doing on Saturday, like the one we are doing together on Saturday. You will get more from a book that is accurate and relevant than to go and spend 1 year in one class learning things that are useless. Because most of the textbooks that are used in school have obsolete information. The world we live in right now changes every 3 to 5 years. So all the books that are being used in the textbook and used in school, there are things that by the time you are reading, you are preparing for a world that does not exist anymore.
No longer exists.
And we need to make adjustments in that and stop fooling ourselves with certificates. And we have all kinds of degree. Yes, we are still in a great degree of debt and poverty.
Yeah, so true. So true. I mean, just like you said, the rate at which things are changing is unbelievable. I was speaking somewhere last week and I was telling them, because I'm not sure if you know this, but one of the things that I do is I'm a guest lecturer at Bebe's Business School, which is part of City University of London. And I teach professional business skills. And we often sit down with industry leaders so that we make sure that our syllabus is still in line with what is happening in the marketplace in reality, not what they teach them in the textbooks, but my job is to prepare them for the reality of the marketplace. And it just, I mean, increasingly it amazes me that, you know, industry leaders will say to me, listen, this part of your syllabus, you can cancel the whole thing. We no longer need that. We no longer need that. It is scary, the speed at which that is happening. There's a particular course that comes to mind that I taught just last year, the end of last academic year. And this year, industry leaders are telling us, look, you can scrap the whole of that because AI is going to do that. So we don't need it anymore.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Because if you look at, you know, the pre-COVID world and the post-COVID world are 2 different worlds entirely.
Yes.
And when the conference we just finished, the Billionaires Conclave Summit we did, I was sharing the theme was from local to global, building global organizations. And the first thing I needed to help them to understand is that number 1, we're in the VUCA world, volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous. And number 2, the realities of today's marketplace, the landscape has changed completely. So I began to itemize for them the different changes that are now the realities of today. For instance, a lot of companies in Nigeria have had to begin to change their policies, because now they have to now include remote work in their policy, because, you know, in this part of the world where you want people to come to work every day, 9 to 5, and that's not working anymore, because the Gen Z and the Gen Alpha are not going to sit there in one place morning to night for 5 days a week. No, just tell me what you need me to do, and as long as I get it done, if I get it done in 2 days, I'm good. I don't need to be here every day just sitting down. So we have a lot of people that have left different IT companies, different banks, the IT department of different parastatals have left the country. And now they are stranded, and they are now realizing, okay, these guys have left, we can still keep them on the employment, and they can do the job remotely. So a lot of things have changed, and like we say, you have to learn, unlearn and relearn continually. Because the day you stop learning, you start dying. So everyone in today's world must understand that continual learning is key.
Okay. So glad that they're hearing it from you as well, that they're hearing it from another voice, because this is exactly what I say. You have to keep learning. In fact, I haven't read the biography of any successful person who is not committed to lifelong learning. Lifelong learning. You never arrive. You never arrive, because things are always changing. I was reading about Frank Lloyd Wright. He's a famous architect, and somebody was interviewing him, and they were saying, listen, out of all the beautiful buildings that you have designed, which one do you think is your best? And he said, my next one. And this was a man who was in his 70s. So that's a man who tells you that he's always learning, he's always growing. He might be in his 70s, but he's not dead yet. And for as long as he's not dead, he's got to keep learning. He's got to keep growing. That is how successful people think. And I say that to people who have settled. I think one of the worst things you can do in life is settle. Just accept your fate and sit there. I cannot deal with that, because even from a biblical perspective, the Bible says that we're to occupy until he comes. Yeah. So you have no right to sit there and think that you have arrived and not do anything to learn or to grow or to keep moving forward. You have to keep moving forward, irrespective of your age or your circumstance. All right, we're going to round this up soon. I wanted to talk a little bit about some other things that you do, and then we can talk about what we're doing together on the 18th. So I know you have your fingers in a lot of pies. You've spoken a little bit about the Billionaires Conclave. But I'm also want to know about some of the other things that you do that people can connect with you to become financially free.
Okay, well, I'm an author. I've written over 100 books, published 54 of them. So all my books, my training program, I have over 2,000 audio programs. I have all kinds of stuff. They're all on my website. So www.olumideemmanuel.org. www.olumideemmanuel.org. And then I also do a lot of education on social media, so people can follow me on Instagram at Olumide Emmanuel. Instagram and Twitter is at Olumide Emmanuel, and then on Facebook is olumide.emmanuel. The second way people can get to learn and connect with me is through, I run an organization. I'm the executive director of the Success, Business and Leadership School. So the Success, Business and Leadership School is a mini MBA where we do a crash course to train people to become entrepreneurs, so that we give them the major topics and the major modules that they need. So instead of going to do a 9-month course, a 1-year course, we bring them into a boot camp, and within 2 weeks we cram them in, and then we connect them to a 1-year mentorship, give them grants, and we help them with that. That's one thing we do. And then in order to help people to grow progressively, we now have a weekly version of that. So every Sunday morning from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. we now have the Success, Business and Leadership School that we run every Sunday morning, so people can connect to that from all over the world. We have a TV station. It's called the Common Sense TV, so you can download the app, go to the App Store, Google Play Store, and download the CSTV app. And from the CSTV app, 8 a.m. Nigerian time, anywhere in the world, you can connect to that school every week. Then apart from that, I run the Billionaires Conclave, which is more of a mentorship platform, because many times people read books, they attend conferences, and they do all kinds of stuff. Then they begin to practice it, but when they hit a snag, they can't get in touch with the author. When they hit a snag, they can't go back to the lecturer to say, sorry, I have a problem. So what I've done is to create a mentorship platform so that high net worth individuals can be able to have a place to come to with like-minded people, have someone to come to that can mentor them. Because the higher you go, the fewer the people that can speak into your life. So when you are struggling, you have so many people that can advise you. When you are doing a turnover of 10 billion, a turnover of 15 billion, when you are doing a turnover of 5 million pounds, 10 million pounds, there are only few people that can speak into your life at that point. And that's where I come in. So I'm a global, mentor to people that are high net worth individuals, families, and organizations all over the world. So what I do is individuals that are high net worth people, I'm able to help them design their life and help them to be able to build their wealth in such a way that it is transgenerational. So we focus on their finances, their family, and their faith. because I personally believe that you are either in the secret court or you are in the secret place. There's no middle ground. So I deal with faith, family, and finance, and we mentor them around these three areas, because I also believe that you cannot have financial success and fail in marriage. You need to be able to bring your marriage, you should succeed in marriage, your children should grow up well, because when you look around, you find that when you look at the Forbes list of billionaires, about 60% of the richest people on earth are all divorcees, and it's not a formula to follow. So we need to let people know that there is a different paradigm where you can do well financially, do well in your faith, and do well in your faith, family, your family. So that's what we do. So through the Billionaires Conclave, we mentor people, and we've seen amazing results on a global scale.
Wow, where do you find the time?
It's just priorities, system, and structures. So I tell people, system and structure. The word system is save yourself time, energy, and money. So what I do is I delegate, because I say to people, there are things you can do that nobody else can do.
Yeah.
There are things you can do that others can also do.
Yeah.
And there are things you cannot do that others can do. So what I say is, the things you cannot do that others can do, outsource it to them, let them do it, and pay them. The things you can do that others can also do, delegate it to them and give them oversight. But the things you can do that no one else can do, that's what you should focus on. And that's the way I've structured my life. So I only do things that nobody else can do. Yeah. And every other thing that others can do, I empower them, I give them the title, the position, the perks, let them do it. I don't need all those stuff. I just need to make impact and make a difference. Nobody can be the husband of my wife. Nobody can be the father of my children. I focus on that. Nobody can give vision and direction to the organization. I focus on that. Nobody can oversee the ministry that God has given to me. So I give oversight. I don't necessarily have to do all the preachings. I don't necessarily have to do the weddings and the namings and the counseling. I don't need to do that. Somebody else can do that. But nobody else can receive the direction for the organization except. So I focus on that so that others can do other things. And that's how I'm able to manage my time.
Yes. Yes, so true. Guys, keep the main thing the main thing. You'll find out what exactly is the priority, just like Dr. said. What is exactly is only I can do. It reminds me of Priscilla Shearer. I'm sure you know who she is. A little while ago, she was being interviewed, and they were asking her, how does she decide which speaking engagements to accept and which to turn down and things like that. And she was saying, well, yeah, so we're asking her how she does that and balance it with family. And she said something that I thought was really, really important that I've taken on. She was saying that she looks at everything and thinks, whose voice is most important here? So she said sometimes she has a speaking engagement. She thinks, well, somebody else could go and speak there. You know, the Lord can still use them. But if her son is playing a basketball game, for instance, nobody else's voice in the audience shouting her son's name can substitute her voice. So for her, it's a no-brainer. So if somebody asks her to speak on a day like that, it's a no-brainer. She's saying no because she has to be where her son is playing basketball. And I've really taken that on. You need to know what is the main thing. Keep the main thing and concentrate on that. Some of us are busy doing things that we don't need to do. We're always busy, but at the end of the day, when you look at achievement, there is a disconnect between the amount of activity you're involved in and the results in which you are getting. So, you know, these are tips that we take on in order to succeed. All right, let's quickly talk about the School of Money on the 18th. Can we have the flyer up, please? All right, School of Money. Money. All right, so what can we expect? I'm so excited, so excited that
use paid employment as a vehicle to wealth. You will trek to the wealthy place and you may never arrive. So what I'm going to be helping people understand is that there are vehicles, and I'm going to be showing them the different kinds of vehicles and the ones that will help you to get there faster. And then there are opportunities to create wealth, investment opportunities, property opportunities all over the world that I'm going to be unveiling to people so that they can take advantage of them. It's going to be an amazing time. And guess what? It's absolutely free.
It's absolutely free. Ladies and gentlemen, it doesn't get better than that. I mean, how much better can it get? It is free. It is free. So there are no excuses, absolutely no excuses. Just as Dr. Olumide said, I'm going to be there as well. I'm going to be speaking and helping you to understand your economic environment, because if you don't understand the economic environment in which you're operating, you're like someone who's playing a game and you don't understand the rules. And if you don't understand the rules, how are you going to win? how are you going to win? So I'm going to be laying down that foundation and stuff like that, so that you go out there empowered, with the knowledge that you need to know how to do well in this economy. Dr. Olumide, do you have any parting words? Because we're about to round this show up. Do you have any parting words?
Well, truth is, the word POOR, P-O-O-R, is an acronym for passing over opportunities repeatedly. It's an opportunity for you to come and learn. And many people say, oh, I'm going to work, I wish I could make it, but I've got to get to work. All the work you have been doing all these years, where has it landed you? You better come, take time off work that day. The £9 per hour, they will pay you the £12 per hour, £7 per hour, that you are just not ready to, you are not serious. So make sure you take time off and come and learn. It's absolutely free. These are things that people pay thousands of pounds to come and learn. Then, one thing you also need to understand is that when you come, you are not going to go back the same way you came, because there are materials that will be available for you to buy that will now go home with and continue the journey. And I tell you, don't allow this opportunity to pass you by.
You heard it here, guys. You heard it here. So I'm going to be there with Dr. Olumide Emmanuel on the 18th of March, and we're going to be at Intercontinental Hotel, which is very close to the O2. So we're going to have a lot of women on the show. We're just going to be interviewing women who are in business and are doing well. They're going to speak to you about how they're doing it, how they're balancing their family and their finances, how they're being successful in business, how they're going out there and taking the world by storm. You're going to hear from other women who have issues just like you, but despite the issues, they're going for it. They're going for life. Listen, don't sit there in your depression. Don't sit there in your mediocrity and wonder why things are not going well with you. You got to get up, get up. So tune in next week and the week after and listen to some inspiring women who can fire you up and get ready to go for life again, just as God intended for it to be. All right, ladies and gentlemen, have a great week. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Hi everyone, it's your girl Bebe Clement, the author of How to Go From Employee to Entrepreneur and the host of your weekly business show, Bebe Means Business, the show where we discuss everything you ever wanted to know about business but you were afraid to ask. How do I start my business? How do I raise the finance? How do I grow my business? Where am I going to find my customers? Join me every Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. on Star Radio UK to get all the information and tips that you need to become a successful entrepreneur and become financially free. Remember, don't let life dictate to you. Rather, put your signature on life.